Yes. Great. Okay, lovely. So we're going to start with some PQ reps. PQ stands for Positive Intelligence Quotient. So it's like IQ is your intellectual quotient, how many randomized test answers you can get right, how intelligent you are, your IQ. Your EQ is your emotional intelligence, and your PQ is your positive intelligence quotient. And in a nutshell, it means the amount of time that your mind is working for you as opposed to against you. So when our mind works for us as our friend, we feel good. It's supporting us. When our mind works against us as our enemy, we don't feel good, and our mind has gone off somewhere, probably on a negative neural pathway, and is making us feel bad. Okay, so this is what we want to understand is how can I have a high PQ? What is a high PQ? Well, 75% and above is the ideal PQ score. So that means that your mind is working for you 75% of the time and it's working against you 25% of the time. That's kind of okay. Anything that and above is okay. We don't count the neutral time. So 75% is a really good PQ level to have. So positive intelligence, it comes from a gentleman called Shazad Shamin, who's written a book called Positive Intelligence. And the tagline is, if you can see, why only 20% of teams and individuals achieve their true potential and how you can achieve yours. So it's all about activating this unlimited potential that we have. And what gets in the way is the disappointment, the anxiety, the frustration, the stress. If we could get all of that out of the way, we'd be on a good path for the majority of the time. And I can genuinely say that I really am at the moment. That's why I'm very happy and willing to share this work because I know it works. So, on that note, let's do some PQ reps together. Has anybody got any questions at this point? Anything you'd like to know a bit more about? Okay, fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite you to close your eyes. If you're comfortable, please feel free to turn the screen off if you'd like to turn your videos off. And my eyes are closed. Let's start by taking a few deep breaths in through your nose and out through your nose. Inhaling a little more air than you normally would, and exhaling a little more air than you normally would. Making sure that your spine is straight and relaxed, your head straight and relaxed. Just tipping your head forward just a little bit so that your spine is in alignment with your neck at the back. Starting to notice the weight of your body on the chair that you're sitting on. Starting to let any thoughts that come to your mind very gently leave your mind and bringing all of your attention back to your breathing. So letting your breath relax back to its natural rhythm, letting any thoughts go and bringing your mind back to your breathing. Starting to notice the very gentle rise and fall of your chest and stomach as you breathe in and out. So placing one hand on your chest center, on your heart center, placing one hand on your stomach, and very gently just noticing that gentle rise and fall of your chest and stomach as you breathe in and out. Starting to notice any sounds that you can hear, any faraway sounds, maybe traffic, maybe birds tweeting, chirping, maybe the humming of any equipment if you're inside. and paying very close attention to these sounds that you can hear. Resting your hands in your lap as you listen to all of those ambient sounds in your environment. And then taking your fingertips of both hands, bringing your fingertips to the top of your forehead, your hairline, and very slowly sliding your fingertips down over your forehead, noticing all of those sensations of touch as your fingertips make contact with the skin on your face. Letting any thoughts go and concentrating all of your attention on that sensation of touch of your fingertips. Noticing the hair, your eyebrows, noticing the sensation of touch on your eyelids, very slowly sliding down your fingertips over your nose, your cheeks, and very gently stopping your fingertips on your upper lip, where you might have a little moustache, far away from your nostrils so that you've got plenty of space to breathe, and paying very close attention to the sensation of warm air on your fingertips as you exhale from your nostrils. Noticing the sensation of air in your nostrils as you breathe in and out. Noticing the gentle rise and fall of your hands as you breathe in and out. Letting all of your body relax even more onto your chair, dropping your weight onto your chair, dropping your shoulders away from your ears, and really resting in this comfortable position, feeling safe with your eyes closed, noticing just the sounds in the present moment, your breathing, and the warm air on your fingertips. Letting go of any worries, anything that's been on your mind. Letting go of any making meaning of anything that we're doing right now. Just simply being with the present moment and focusing your attention on all of those physical sensations. And then very slowly sliding your fingertips over your lips, noticing all of the sensations of your fingertips on your lips, over your chin, resting your hands in your lap. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Lovely. Thank you very much. There you all are again. So we just activated our right brain. We activated our sage brain. This is what we call the right brain, is the sage brain. And in the sage brain, we have empathy circuitry. We have creativity. We have non-linear thinking. So it's really away from the left side of the brain, which is very much about survival, about stress. All the saboteurs, which we're going to be looking at, reside in our left brain. And I've got a little slideshow to share with you. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll have a look at some of these saboteurs and see how we can interrupt them and be happier. So There we go. So guys, can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, brilliant. I'm just going to move this up here and this. I think I need to, oops, hang on. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. I'm trying to move this little, no, thing down to the bottom. That's it, so that I can, that's better. Okay, great. There we go. So that's me. We're going to be building powerful habits with PQ training. Oh, there we are. So in life, as you guys probably know, there are many things that we want to do. And sometimes we're not really sure how to go about it. And sometimes we tell ourselves that we don't know what to do. But actually, we always, inside, we always know what to do. The saboteurs that are in our life stop us from taking those next steps. And I'm going to talk to you about saboteurs. Um, the idea with the saboteurs is that there are 10 of them all together. And these are 10 ways that interrupt our peace. They have different names. There can be the avoider saboteur. There could be the stickler saboteur, the perfectionist. There would be the controller saboteur, and then different modes that we get into when we feel uncomfortable about something. So it might actually help for me to go back just to have a look at, sorry to go so quickly, but I just want to go back to the beginning to say that here we go. So the saboteurs, they live in the left region of our brain, which would be the survival brain. And our saboteurs are activated. That means, when we get triggered, when we're in judge mode. So that's really the most important thing that we're going to be looking at today is how to interrupt and how to intercept these saboteurs. And as you can see, there are 9 of them here. We've got the controller, the hyperachiever, the restless saboteur, the stickler, the perfectionist, the pleaser, the hypervigilant, very worried, very anxious, the avoider, the procrastinating behavior, the victim, when we feel really sorry for ourselves and we think everything's happening for other people and not happening for us, the hyper rational, when we're very much in our head about everything, but we're not really in that feeling mode, finding it difficult to connect with others, maybe for different reasons. So these are all of the saboteurs. The restless is when we're going from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, not really completing the first thing. We're jumping from project to project and not managing to complete things. The hyperachiever is the saboteur that is always focused on the goal, always focused on the outcome. What's my next goal? I'm driven, I've got to get there. Everything that I do is to get to this goal. It's not about enjoying the journey, it's about being really an achiever, but a hyper achiever. So not feeling worthy unless we're achieving something. And the controller is very common for human beings. This is where we feel out of control because we've judged something. And I'm going to go on to talk about how we human beings judge all the time. And when we judge, we go into judge mode. This is where our saboteurs start to come along to help us out because we've started to judge something or someone or our circumstances, only 3 things, and then we start to feel bad. So here we go. This is the judge. The master saboteur judges 3 things. Judges ourselves, we judge other people, and we judge our circumstances. And I'm going to go back to my little slide, which is further down and begins here. There we are. So we tell ourselves we don't know what to do, but actually we do. It's our saboteurs that are getting in the way and stopping us from taking those next steps. by avoiding, for example, or by being too perfectionist about something. So we don't ever finish things because we're trying to make everything perfect. So these PQ reps can be done for 10 seconds only. It's been proven scientifically, because we've got lots of research with neuroscience these days, that 10 seconds is the amount of time that it takes for us to flip ourselves out of a mood, out of a state, away from a neural pathway that's taking us down a negative path. So, for example, if we were to do 10-second PQ reps now, let's just do 10 seconds so we can see how short it is. So we can do the one where we rub our fingertips together. So if we take our fingertips, very gently rub them together with our eyes closed and noticing the ridges on each fingertip. Really paying so much attention to our fingertips that we can feel the ridges on our fingertips and letting our thoughts go and being in the present moment. We've probably done that for 10 seconds already. So that's as short a time as it takes to reset. 10 seconds. So we've talked about the sage brain being the right brain that we're activating by doing these mindfulness practices. It makes us feel calm. It calms the anxiety. It calms the left brain. And our right brain is then allowed to start to open up and become creative. I was going to say something then about the sage brain and the saboteur. Yeah, so it takes 6 to 8 weeks of doing these exercises on a regular basis. And this is the course that I promote, that I share with people. It's actually a 7-week course. And it's been shown that it takes between 6 and 8 weeks for the grey matter in the brain via an MRI scan or something like that to show increased activity in the right brain and decreased activity in the left brain. And that's just very simply by doing these, what we call PQ reps, positive intelligence, mental fitness reps, very simply letting the thoughts go, bringing our mind back to our body, back to something that we choose to focus on. Because the mind, as we know, many people call it the monkey mind, or, whatever they want to say, the mind will do its own thing. It will run off and have us in thoughts that we're not really choosing, not of our choosing. So the reason it's called mental fitness is because we're actually exercising muscles in our brain when we command our mind to come back to, for example, the ridges on our fingertips, or when we command our mind to come back to the sensation of air coming in and out of our nostrils. We let our thoughts go and we bring our mind back to focus on something that we tell it to focus on. So it's self-command, and this is how we build mental muscle. So everybody knows that when you go to the gym, you have to exercise your muscles. You don't expect to go to the gym on a Monday and have healthy muscles or strong muscles on a Friday. It's something that you need to keep doing. And the more you keep lifting those weights, the more you exercise physically, the stronger that you're going to get and the bigger weights you'll be able to carry. And it's the same with the mental fitness. The more you exercise the muscles in your mind, the stronger weights, meaning the problems and the challenges that life throws at us, the more we're able to overcome those problems and challenges. Because if you noticed, we probably felt more relaxed and calm after doing those mental fitness exercises. And you can imagine after doing them over and over and over again, this space of calm and peace and confidence that we have control over our mind starts to grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's a really lovely space to dwell in more of the time in life. So we say the way of the sage is ease and flow, because this work is all about doing things in an easy, flowy way. It's not about making things hard for ourselves. It's not about pushing ourselves to do more and more and more. It's about making life easy. It doesn't mean relaxing and doing nothing. This work is actually going to have an impact on 3 things: wellness, productivity, and Performance. So those three things. Oh, and relationships. Sorry. So wellness, performance slash productivity, and relationships will all improve as we raise our PQ, as we get more mentally fit. So the sage powers, there are five of these sage powers, and sage powers are behaviors that are based on love. They're behaviors like innovation, like exploration, um, empathy. These are behaviors that are, we call them sage powers. And when we activate our sage brain, we then have access to these sage powers. And these pictures here are a representation of the five sage powers. There's activate, the rocket. There's empathize, which is the heart. There's innovate, new ideas, which is the light bulb. There's navigate, which is looking at our life from the end of our life, healthy in mind and body, and looking back at a situation that we're finding difficult and thinking, well, what's important about that situation, really looking back from the end of my life? And sometimes that can give a very different perspective on our problem. It can change the way we look at something. And then we have explore. This is a brilliant one with a magnifying glass. So all of these sage powers can help us in our life when we have a problem. Maybe we need to explore a little bit deeper into the situation and think, well, what's actually going on here? You know, maybe we need to have empathy for ourselves and anybody else in the situation before we go into frustration or anger or resentment or disappointment or any form of judgment. Maybe we need to empathize more. So we have all of these sage powers within us. And this is just really an opportunity to focus on them more because our saboteurs are all fear-based. Because they're all left-brained, they're very much about survival and very much about fear, anxiety. Oh no, what's going to happen? Perfectionism. Oh God, I've got to get that right. It's all really fear-based, and there's too much fear in this world. We don't talk enough about making ourselves successful, but based on loving, positive emotions rather than I've got to do it because otherwise I won't be able to pay my rent or, all of this stuff. It's all based on fear. So we're looking at shifting from being pushed by our fear-based saboteurs to actually creating from a place of I'm going to create from my sage. I'm going to create from a place of love, a place of exploration. What would it look like if I decided to take this action, for example? So, the sage perspective, even though it sounds a little bit corny, I know, the idea is that every problem can be converted into a gift and an opportunity. And there are many things that we know that happened to us in the past that we probably thought at the time, oh, that was terrible. This is awful. Why is this happening? But then we can probably say, actually, now in hindsight, I can see how that was a gift. So I'd just like to invite you, all of you, or anybody, can you share anything that's something that's happened in your past that at the time you felt was a problem and difficulty, but then in hindsight you can see actually that was a gift?
Um, I got something even this week actually it's just happened, which is so I run an Airbnb up in Glastonbury, and I was gutted because the manager who has only been working 6 months together, and he had a massive family crisis. Has just literally dropped everything, height of the season, and I've had a week of struggling with trying to organize changeovers, 12 bookings back to back, same day changeover, and I've been so stressed about it. And gutted he left because he was great and used to greet the guests, etc. And I found a new manager sourcing, and actually, I think he's going to be better. He's more professional. He supplies the linen. He does follow-up messages to all the people that stay, etc. He has a portfolio of about 15. So something that I thought was terrible, I think might actually work out for the better. Seems to be anyway.
Amazing. Congratulations. Because I remember speaking to you when you said, oh no, my
It was a
person's
real
gone.
shock. Yeah.
Yeah. So already you can see the gift in that situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The manager went into den. I'm waiting for a call back. I'm hoping he'll take the job, but I think he's going to be better. So,
Yeah, exactly. So at the time, all of that time that you were possibly, probably, would I be right in saying you were stressing about it?
my God, 1,000%.
And
Yeah.
how long did that stress last, Lindsay? Do you remember?
Oh, good. Well, it's only just stopped. So, what I spoke to you about 10 days ago, it's sort of
Yeah.
just 2 days ago, I met him online, and now
Mhm.
it's like it's going to, I think I've solved the problem. I don't know. I'm waiting for his call, but generally speaking, I
Yeah.
think maybe I think it's going to be good if that comes off.
Yeah. So maybe a week of stress you had, maybe in
Mm,
that area.
yeah,
Mm.
probably was a week. Yeah,
Yeah.
but intense.
Yeah. So there we go, a week of intense stress. Whereas with this whole program, we come to learn with a number of examples and sharings that in the moment, we don't know whether it's a gift or an opportunity. We think
Yeah.
it's
I thought it was definitely not
probably
a gift or an opportunity.
exactly. And there's this whole
Absolute disaster.
yeah. And it was a lie, wasn't it? It wasn't true.
No, no, well, no, you're right, because yeah, just hoping it will come off, and that's probably a negative thought, isn't it? I'm thinking, yeah, but I think it's a 99% chance he will
Yeah.
rate it.
And then even now, in this moment, even if he doesn't, perhaps you could even not get stressed about that. Do you know what I mean? And use this concept to think, well, you know what? Maybe it's a gift. Let's just see, rather
Yeah,
than going down that neural pathway that we all go down when
yeah,
something goes wrong.
yeah. I
Yeah.
agree. I
And
agree.
so that's a really, thank you for sharing that, Lindsay. That's a really good example of judging your circumstances, making them wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and then your judge would have been activated. I think that's coming in a minute. And your judge would have then become activated, and then some of your saboteurs would have come in to possibly help you. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. We'll look at the saboteurs in a minute, and maybe if there's anything that comes up when we're looking at them, you can say, actually, yeah,
Okay.
that's what I felt
Yeah.
in the
Okay.
light of this problem. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Does anyone else want to share anything at that point, or shall I move on?
I think I would like to share something.
Great.
I've been struggling as I've told you before, Marimba, and my sister knows with social media confidence to go on it. I always have loads of content, but it's just the actual initial just going on there, just getting on with it because I suffer with perfectionism. And recently, I was approached by a really lovely lady that has her own workshop that teaches knitting, and she asked me to collaborate with her, which I'm really excited about. And we done two or three videos ready for Instagram, and the way that she made me feel so relaxed through not rehearsing it or no kind of preparation or organization has made me see how easy it is to start off with 90-second videos to put onto Instagram and later take the next hurdle of going onto YouTube and other platforms if I want to. But it's really broken, kind of like cracked the ice. Over a number of years, I'll be honest with you, of
Yeah.
that I thought was just so frightening, so nerve-wracking. It's given me the confidence to now just get on and do little ones myself without stressing. And it doesn't have to be perfect because unless you practice, you're never going to get there.
Exactly. Many, many congratulations. And Sharon, what was the thinking before you had a connection with this lady? What was your neural pathway, your negative thinking, your judging of it all? What
Uh,
was going on?
the main negative judging of what was going on was, I think, for me, I love watching TikTok, the creative people on TikTok and all the positive things, and looking and seeing the perfectionism of each of these videos made me feel that I was never enough to ever go online because I wouldn't have been completely perfect like these other people, not bearing in
Thank
fact that they
you.
had to start somewhere.
Yeah. So,
That was the main issue that I had.
yeah. So your dialogue, your internal dialogue would have been something like, I'm never going to be able to make these
No,
videos as well as these
100%,
guys. Yeah. And
100%.
what is it now?
Um,
Your dialogue. What's your thinking now around the
oh,
videos?
my thinking now around the videos is, well, this evening I'm going to make a little note of all the number of hours I'm going to spend, maybe 2 or 3 hours this week in making videos. So I feel much more positive to be able to just get up, get on, and know that I will be, in my mind, perfect one day. But
Right.
the main thing is to just get up and get on and stop talking about it.
That's fantastic. And you know, I'd just like to share with you at this point. Thank you for sharing that, Sharon, very much. Judging. So, as we've talked about before, and it's good to reiterate the basics, the judging. So, what you were doing and what Lindsay was doing, if I can use those examples that you've kindly shared, is you were judging yourself. Sharon, you were judging yourself that
Yeah.
you weren't good enough to make these videos. And then, Lindsay, you were judging your circumstances, thinking these circumstances are wrong. So, what we do, remember the 10 seconds, we celebrate. And there's some slides about this that we're going to go on to. When we catch ourselves feeling negative, feeling in whatever way that manifests, this is wrong, however that makes us feel like, oh, it's that feeling, isn't it? It's horrible feeling. We just feel smaller, my body language kind of like that. When we're happy and confident, we're free. When we're judging ourselves, we're not. We're limiting ourselves. We're under this umbrella of kind of bullshit negativity because it's actually not true. So, what we have to do, or what we can choose to do if we want to, is realize that we're in judge mode. Am I judging myself? Because I'm starting to feel bad here. Am I judging them? Or am I judging my circumstances? And it's always going to be one of those three things. Once we realize that we're in judge mode, we've caught our internal judge, which is a program, which is something that we can release over time with these exercises and with the knowledge that we are not our internal judge. We're not our judge. We're a beautiful, eternal being, if you like. We're not our internal voice. We're not our judge. So once we can realize and have that separation, or even play with it, if it's not a realization, you guys may already know this and you may already be comfortable with it. So excuse me if I'm preaching to the converted, but it's something to be reminded of again and again because we will start to feel negative about stuff. We will judge ourselves. We judge our body a lot. We judge other people when they're talking to us. We get irritated and we think, what are they talking about? We judge our circumstances. We think I shouldn't be working this. I should have more money in my bank account. I ought to have this. So we judge all the time. And when we catch ourselves judging, and we know it because of the negative emotion, we celebrate. So we do something like this. Hooray! Hooray! For 10 seconds. This is about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's all it takes. I feel better now. I'd like to invite you guys to celebrate with me. Are you in a space where you can celebrate right now?
Yep.
Yeah, let's do for 10 seconds. Let's just do whatever way you can, even if you just sit there and clap your hands if you feel. So, ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ah, there we go. So we just celebrated for 10 seconds. And what that does, it floods your brain with dopamine and you'll start to feel good. So you'll bring yourself out of that judge mode of judging yourself, someone else, circumstances. So that's called catching the judge. And that's the beginning of the transformation. We catch the judge, and the judge in the course, the 7-week course, their whole first week is about catching the judge. And honestly, the dialogue in the group, because we have a regular weekly meeting just to make sure everybody's on track and to share how things are going, people are saying, oh my God, I had no idea that I was judging myself this much. And it's actually a really serious thing. The judge is nasty. The judge will talk to you and put you down and stop you from doing things and make you feel small, make you feel stupid, make you second guess yourself and your actions and your place in the world. So the judge is a really nasty character. And it's important be real about that. The judge lies to us all the time, and we are not our judge. So we don't need to identify with this, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I should have done that. Oh. Nonsense. That's not who we are. It's just a program. It's just a habit. It's just a pattern. And when we celebrate, there are going to be some slides on this in a minute. We bring ourselves out of this judge mode. So the reason I've kept this one on, the 5 sage powers, is because last week we talked about, and we played actually, didn't we, Sharon, the yes and game, the innovate game. And
Yes.
all of these sage powers have a power game. I won't talk about the Innovate Power game because we talked about that one last week, but I might upload the video. I haven't done it yet, and then you can have a look if you wanted to. The Navigate is another of the Sage powers that I just wanted to touch on today. So I wanted to share something myself and then just very quickly go round and think about a situation that's troubling us that we can use the Sage power Navigate, the compass. The power game is flash forward. So we jump forward. It's a very typical coaching thing, isn't it, Khalid and Diane? It's a typical coaching tool, isn't it? Where you go to the end of your life, to your wiser elder self, healthy in body and mind. You imagine yourself, an older marimba with big silver afro, wrinkly face, very happy. I've lived this great life. And then I'd look back on this problem that I'm experiencing right now, whatever that may be, and I would say to myself, what is important about this situation now? What's really important looking back from the end of my life? And I would also ask myself, what's not important about this situation? And so I'd just like to just be quiet myself for a minute and just let you guys just think about the situation that's troubling you now. Maybe not the worst one, maybe just something that you can feel you can work with, not something that's going to take you to a really awful place. I hope there's not such a thing, but there might be. And then connect with an older, wiser version of yourself at the end of your life, happy in mind and body, looking back at this situation that is troubling you, you're being challenged by, and ask yourself 2 questions. What's important about this situation? Asking your wiser elder self. And then what's not important? I'll just be quiet for a minute and let you have a think about that. I'm going to close my eyes because it always helps me to close my eyes when I'm thinking. And just see what comes up. You don't have to think hard about it. Just see what bubbles up from your unconscious, from your wiser elder self. What's important? What's not important? So I know I said a minute, but just for the sake of time, that's been a little bit of time. I wonder if anybody's, even in this short time, had a little insight about anything, looking back at a problem current that might look differently from the wiser elder self's perspective.
I think it's been said already, actually. Just get on and do it. You don't have to get it. There's no such thing as getting it perfectly right, actually. You just need to. I'm planning a launch of my ebook in October. I've got a formula to follow, but it's quite complex. And I'm thinking it's really providing me with a little bit of an obstacle on how, and because I'm getting it from a book. And so I need to map out each step. And I thought, you know what, just do it, and just map it out, create all the emails in advance. And if it doesn't work, do it again later on. I'm planning to launch in the US in February. So I have another go at it. If I don't, whatever it is I whatever mistakes I make or things that I omit this time, or I would like to do differently, I can have another go, and not to be stopped by trying to get it absolutely right, because
Brilliant.
what is that,
Exactly. So what was important? Just to get on with it.
just to get on with it and to, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been, it's a great session for me because I've been spending the last month doing nothing. And I thought, well, the old judge is much more subtle. He's not just nasty, he's very subtle,
Battle sometimes.
And I thought, well, what I've been doing, when I'm not working, I'm on holiday. And I've been mostly on holiday. but, but actually, I had a great insight yesterday, in the last couple of days, which I didn't have in that month. And that's because I've been giving myself time and just resting and just being and not just having to do stuff all the time.
Lovely, Khalid. Yeah.
And the result was, wow, I've got to write a magazine. I've got to create a magazine, a newsletter called The Oasis. And that is a big, big breakthrough that came from just, do you know what, watching the cricket,
Yeah.
not, not putting a lot of pressure on myself, is what I tend to do.
Yeah. Yeah, lovely. Thank you so much for sharing. So you allowed yourself to do something in ease and flow that's leading you to success rather than push, bloody push some more, you know?
Yes,
Yeah. Well
I love
done.
that phrase, ease and flow. I think that coming back to this session today is really given that a new meaning. Ease and flow can
Ease
be
and
over a
flow.
month,
Lovely.
over a period of a month,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
just on a daily basis. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you, Khalid. I'm going to move on for the sake of time, unless anybody wanted to share something quickly about their experience just then.
Very, very, very quickly, Miranda. I'm
Yeah,
so glad
please.
that I'm in this the group. It's really nice. It's encouraging, and for me personally, it was just going back. I did this exercise just recently, and I looked into my future self, very similar to what you have just explained, and it was a matter of going back to my passion, to what I loved. And it is getting the coaching practice back up again because it's had its break due to circumstances, but it wasn't an excuse. It was real life circumstances, and I just had to accept it, which is fine, and which is what I did. So, for that vision and experience that I had to use, I simply just exactly what everybody else is saying. It's just getting on with it. So for the past month, I have been creating my programs again and getting the website back up again because I simply have navigated the intention, and to be able to say, well, in 2 years' time, this is where I want to be. In 3 years' time, this is what I want to look like. In the elderly side of me, which, as far as I'm concerned, I'll stay young forever. But to be able to consistently do the passion, which is serving. And that's where I am at now.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's great. That's great. So you decided to take your coaching back
To where it was.
where
Yeah,
it
I had
was
to
and
have a
then
break of it.
continue growing your coaching practice and serving and doing what your passion is, because that's what you're here to do, I guess. One of the things
Exactly. It
anyway.
is my calling. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's lovely. I'm happy to hear that, Diane. I hope to connect with you. Maybe have
Oh,
a cup of coffee and a coachy chat would be nice
absolutely. That
someday.
would be fantastic.
Yeah, that'd be really nice. I'd like that. Okay, brilliant. So, guys, does anybody okay to just go over maybe 10 minutes?
No, it's fine. I'm
Khalid,
happy. I
you're
can't see.
happy, Sharon. Khalid, are you?
Oh, just fine.
Just
That,
10 minutes. That's
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah.
10. Lindsay?
yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, yeah.
Diane, are you good with 10 minutes?
Yeah, that absolutely. That's fine. I'm
Okay,
just watching
it won't be
TV.
more than 10. I want to share a little bit more if that's okay. Thank you very much. Great. So let's have a look at what we got next. So, yeah, just a little information about the sage powers: empathize, the heart, love for yourself and others, explore, love for discovery. You know, we talked about it all being based on love. The sage, based on love, saboteurs, based on fear. Activate the right brain, we're coming from love, we feel better. Activate the left brain, we feel a bit stressed and fearful. That's the foundation. Navigate, we've just looked at that. Love for a purpose-driven life. You know, what's important, what's not important, where can I connect with my purpose, my important purpose in life, being in touch with what makes life meaningful. Innovate, we played the wonderful yes and game, a love for invention, looking out of the box at different ideas. Activate, a love for making things happen, focusing, laser focus, and getting things done. So these are very simply the five sage powers. It's a simple program. 10 saboteurs, 5 sage powers. That's it. It's just really around that, and there's always something that we can use. So we've got the different power games to do with the sage powers here. We've just done a little flash forward, so I won't spend too much time on this, but just to say, there's at the end of your life, looking back, what would you consider to be the most important aspect of this situation? You know, for me, it was about making money, actually, to be honest. And I just felt my wiser elder self says to me, Marimba, you're healthy. Health is wealth. You know, you have everything. You can do whatever you want to because you have your health and the money will come. And that was very simple. So that was my one. Um, we've got the growing together as a group. I wanted to share this because the research shows that people are 5 times more likely to adopt new habits when they do so with the support of a group. And when we do my 7 week course, we're all together. We're doing it together. We're doing it on our phone, on an app, but we actually clock in every week together like this. We have an hour session, maybe a bit more if people want to, and we share what we've done in the last week, how we found it, looking at the judge, how we found looking at our saboteurs. And it's just a really nice way to come together and to share what's working, what isn't working. So it's just really important. And I love these groups when we get together. I find them encouraging. And I'm part of other groups as well that support me, you know, when it's not me in the hot seat, whereas I do feel it's me talking a lot, but I like to, hear you guys as well, because I learn from you as well. We're all in it together. So it's really important to be part of a group as well. And thanks for coming, by the way, at this point. And here are a few things that I want to start looking at that I think are generally important for all of us. We all want to feel happier, get up earlier, follow our inner guidance, have more money, reduce our stress, learn to listen better to the people that we love, stop being triggered and reacting, break our patterns, stop doing things for the wrong reasons. All of these things, prioritizing fun. All these things in our life we can learn to do, and we can use this work to do all of these things here that will have a huge impact on the way that we live. So, what's your favorite one here, Lindsay, would you say? Oh, you're on mute, darling. I couldn't hear you there.
I got it. Sorry, hon. The one I would most like to do is reduce my stress, fear, anxiety, and worry.
Absolutely a possibility. Thank you.
Yeah.
Khalid, what's your favorite one?
I would say at the moment breaking patterns,
Breaking patterns. Thank you.
breaking breaking any negative patterns that I have plenty of them, you know.
Yeah, thank you. We all have. Thank you. How about you, Sharon?
There's more than one, but anyway, I'll just stick to one. I think at the moment, to there's the one about to make a bit more money. I think that would really help me, because that kind of brings in with me having a successful business, and that's the main thing I'm working on now.
Lovely. And how about you, Diane?
Um, for me, I think it's very similar to Sharon. But I think to finalize it is listen to and follow my inner guidance.
Yeah, that one's standing out for me tonight as well, actually, and the fun.
Yeah, oh, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. So these are all the things that are going to happen to us when we have a higher PQ, because our sage is going to be running the show. So that's quite nice to know. The benefits of having a tribe, having a group like this, whether it's meeting people in the pub or going for a walk or coming online to have a group, people live longer when they've got the connections, happier, healthy lives compared to people who lack those connections. So it's great that you're here and thank you for being part of this group. So every saboteur has a sage step. When you do the free online saboteur assessment test, which any of you can do, and I do a free debrief for anybody in the creatives group, and in this sort of situation, I will do that. I do charge for it, but it's only £47. But for you guys, I do it for free because I enjoy it, and it's a great kind of step in. You find out which are your top 3 saboteurs by answering 50 questions off the top of your head. Positive Intelligence will then send you an email and you will get a list of your top saboteurs. And that's very helpful because then you can work on those core saboteurs because those will be the ways that you are hijacking yourself. You're self-sabotaging in different ways. So the sage step is to become aware and acknowledge that you're in judge mode, like we talked about, and celebrate for 10 seconds. That's my judge. It's not me. My judge thinks I can't do it. I don't think I can't do it. I've caught my judge. What are you talking about? Woohoo! 10, 9, 8, etc. Flood the brain with dopamine and move away from that negative neural pathway that's going to take you down that saboteur path and is going to stop you from taking action because your judge is judging you and belittling you again. So it says celebrate even small wins, including sage steps for 10 seconds. That means celebrate taking those sage steps. Then we've talked about this, haven't we? Judging 3 things. These are the things that we might be judging. For the sake of time, I'm not going to ask everybody to share what they judge, but this is typically, we've all had these thoughts. I would imagine it would be very normal if we did. So judging ourselves, judging others, judging our circumstances. And when we start to realize how much we judge, it's actually, I don't know, it's a concern. It can be funny, but it's a concern. You think, oh my goodness. So we've got to stop this judging. We've got to start celebrating and realizing that we're in judgment. And we will start to notice where other people are in judgment as well by the language that they use, by the energy that they're giving out, by the way they respond to us. We'll know when we're being judged or when somebody's judging themselves. It becomes really, really obvious. And this is what happens, as we talked about before, when we're in judge mode, that's when our saboteurs come to help us. They get activated because we're feeling bad, we're judging. So it's like, oh, okay, right, let me just say yes to that person and try and get some validation and start to feel better when I don't really want to say yes, but I'm feeling so bad that I need to make myself feel better. So this is when these saboteurs come in and start to run the show. It's because we're judging something. We might be judging ourselves for example, for me, I'm a real perfectionist, or I'm working on it, getting much better. I might think, I haven't done anything today. I haven't done anything for my business. And I might start tidying up the house. That's not going to help my business, but it's going to make me feel in a perfect house. I'm going to feel better because everything we human beings do is apparently because we think it's going to make us feel better. The stickler, that's my top one. Sage step is to put the items into one of 2 buckets. So is this part of the 20% that needs to be perfect, or is it not? Can I just let it go that the cat's on my bed and it's a white duvet and it's been raining and they're going to mess up? Or can I just let it go? Does it have to be perfect? No, it doesn't. So we just give ourselves a hard time because we're trying to make everything perfect. And actually, everything doesn't need to be perfect. Good enough is good enough. Give yourself a break. This is how we raise our sage baseline. I thought I'd just pop this in the middle quickly. So we do our PQ reps, we raise our sage baseline, the yellow line, and the higher that sage baseline is, because the more PQ reps we do, the higher our PQ score is, the less likely we are to be sabotaged and impacted by our saboteurs. It just won't hit us. If we're charged up and we've got a high PQ, things will happen externally and we will respond with a positive mental attitude. We feel hijacked when our saboteur intensity goes above our sage baseline. The avoider, we start with a PQ rep, rub our fingertips together, close our eyes, breathe. We take the first step and celebrate. We don't take a really difficult step. We take an easy step towards the thing that we're procrastinating on. We open our laptop if we need to start doing a presentation. That's it. Then we celebrate. I've opened my laptop. Hooray. Sounds silly, but then, we're full of dopamine. We're feeling better. Then we take the next step. We open up Keynote if we're on a Mac, or PowerPoint if we're on a Microsoft. Little steps. We realize that we can take so many different actions. The hyper rational is all about not feeling the emotions, really being in our head. I just want the data. People, often bosses, often some people that are kind of intellectually clever people can be a little bit intellectually arrogant and be a bit hyper rational and not really delve into the emotions about things. But we're emotional beings, we're human beings, we are emotional. So the sage step for somebody who has a strong hyper rational saboteur, name the feelings. How are you feeling? Just connect with your feelings. For the hypervigilant, this is very much about the anxiety. Where does this fit on the vigilance grid? Do I really need to be so anxious about this situation? Or can I just interrupt that anxiety and just think, actually, using maybe one of the sage powers, does it really matter? Does it really matter that that person hasn't called me back? Are they dead? Probably not. They're probably not dead. They're probably going to ring you back later. Do you know all these places that we go to with the anxiety? I'm going through quickly because I said 10 minutes more. So sage steps and the art of celebration. We make establishing new habits easy. We lower that difficulty of habit formation. We break down the action into very small steps and we reward them so that they get reinforced. That's where we become very clever at using this dopamine, because we're unconditionally choosing to be joyful. We're choosing to celebrate, not because someone's given us a gift, not because it's our birthday, not because our team scored a goal. We choose when we celebrate, and the body wants to do that again. What did you do to make me feel good? That dopamine. This is where people become addicts of a cigarette, of a drink, of heroin, shopping, sex, TV, Netflix, give me another episode of that series. Let me roll it on again. I want more dopamine. So when we choose to celebrate, when we've caught our judge, our body is going to be trained and programmed to do it again because we want more dopamine. We love that dopamine. It's like a rat with a cheese. So we will celebrate again. What did you do to get that feeling? I caught my judge. I'm going to do it again. So that's how we make this work easy. I don't know if you can see the bottom of that slide. I know I certainly can't. Yeah, using the power of addiction in a positive way. Get that reward, get the dopamine. And yeah, we're consciously creating a situation where we're releasing dopamine, not by the other things that people usually get the dopamine hit from: shopping, gaming, smoking, drinking, all of those things that are not so good for us. Um, so that, yeah, two most critical parts of new habit formation: focus on the small step, reward the small step. That's it. Um, it facilitates habit formation to celebrate, and we feel good. Why wouldn't we do that? We just don't get taught about this stuff. The controller, the sage step is ask what would make this more of a pull. Don't tell people you need to do that, you need to do that, you need to do that. Think about the person. How could I make this more enticing for them? It's kind. Controlling is very manipulative. The hyperachiever, it's not all about the goal. You see the person in the pictures going for that goal. I need to be better. My self-worth depends upon this. No, you're worthy anyway. Enjoy the journey. Go for goals, but come from sage. I'm going to enjoy this project, this coaching business, this book that I'm trying to create, this piece of art, this crochet. I'm going to enjoy it because I want to, because I can. It's not because I'm only worthy if I do it and I do it really well. No, we're worthy anyway. Then we can enjoy the journey. Pleaser. Stop reacting and saying yes to things or doing things that you don't want to. Ask yourself, what would please me? It's not selfish. If you're pleased and happy, you're going to be better for all of those people around you. So we need to stop pleasing other people and really think about what are our needs, and we need to meet them. That's our responsibility to ourselves, isn't it? To meet our own needs and to model that to the people around us. And yeah, it's a good example. Um, the victim, poor me, we often go down that pathway. I had that. My parents died when I was young. My children's father died. I used to feel all sad. Oh, Marimba, you poor thing, da, da, da. And it is sad. I'm not taking away from the grief. There's nothing wrong. But that I noticed when I was doing the course, this victim saboteur would kick in during the day, and I'd start to feel sorry for myself sometimes when I needed to take an action, but I wasn't able to take it. So my victim saboteur would kick in. Oh, Marimba, you've had a hard life. You can't do that yet. It's difficult for you. It's like, oh my God, this whole dialogue. And I used to catch my victim, celebrate for 10 seconds, and then move away. It was so liberating and mind-blowing for me to see how this subtle victim voice had been making me feel small, I guess. So you give yourself a loving hug with the victim. It's all right. It's okay. You've had a bit of a hard time. That's all right. We're doing it together now. We're okay. It's okay. Restless. Oh, I've got this project to do. Oh, it's getting a bit difficult now. I've got to do a tax return. Oh, I'll put it down. I'm going to start another project. I think I'll do that. Oh, no, it's getting a bit hard now. I think I'll go on to this. It's ridiculous. We do it all the time. The restless saboteur. So you do a PQ rep, rub your fingertips together, look at the tax return, do a PQ rep, catch the judge. I'm judging my circumstances. I'm making out this is going to be really hard. No, jump up and down for 10 seconds, activate that dopamine and celebrate that you've actually opened up the self-assessment page. um, so I kept us longer than 10 minutes, and sorry to go on quickly, but I just wanted to get through that because I think you guys will benefit from having it in your subconscious, just letting it march over, that for every saboteur there is a sage step. So if it's okay with you all, I know Khalid's done the saboteur assessment test. Sharon, I don't know if you've done it. Have you done it?
I haven't finished it, no.
Okay, so Diane and Sharon and Lindsay, I'll send you a link if you'd like to do it. Please do it. No pressure. If you don't want to do it or it's not the right time, no problem. But I just want to leave you with the tools. And then I will unpack it with you for free online, just one to one. We'll have a little chat about them. And I'll give you some saboteur um, specific tips when we've established what your top three saboteurs are so that you can then start working to interrupt and eliminate and intercept these negative patterns that are subtly or not so subtly getting in the way of getting what you want out of life. Simple as that. And there's another one.
Thank you,
My
Marimba.
pleasure. Next week I'm busy, but the week after I'm definitely going to do this 5 to 6. And there's a little gift that I'm going to share with you. I'll tell you what it is very quickly. It's a binaural beat. It's something that you can listen to that really helps to activate this higher alpha frequency that we need to be in when we're being creative and when we're accessing things from the quantum field of all places. It's a really amazing high binaural beat that I got from somebody called Peter Sage when I did one of his courses, and it was actually used by the CIA in their remote viewing program. It's really high level, and I'll send you the documentation with it as well, because the CIA used to train people to actually get into these states where they can do remote viewing, which means seeing into places that they're not actually there. I mean, it's been scientifically documented that it's possible to do this. So those of you that are a bit out there like me, I love listening to this sort of thing. And I love anything that's going to make my brain, give it that hack that I can get on top of the game, because I want to be on top of my game as well. So I'm going to share that with all of you. I'll share with you, Sharon, on Diane's behalf. And Diane, please feel free to give me
Thank you.
if you want.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
has anybody, please, can we just share one nugget? What's been valuable, please, for you today before we part company? What will you take away from this session, please? I'd love to know.
For me, it's been doesn't have to be perfect. Just get on with it and shut up.
Thank you, Sharon.
Oh, you come back in.
No,
She's
I was
been
going to, because
listening.
I have been listening. I was going to say that I forgot to mention before. So I did a psychology degree, and it's just been really interesting hearing. Like, I know that like there's also so much like scientific backing to everything you're talking about. But I in particular really liked the exercise of your why self. Like that struck a chord with me. And I definitely want to use that in the future. I just thought it was a lovely way of looking at stuff. So I'll take that away for sure.
So
Yeah.
pleased. Thank you. I love supporting young people. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Come over and have a drink with us.
Yeah, I will.
I'm smiling because I'm a bit spiritual, and you know my property in Glastonbury is called Sage House. So everything you're saying, Sage, that kind of resonated. But the one thing I will say that I really took away was when I sat down. I've been anxious for a reason all day, and we did that exercise, which I'm sad you missed because you went to get something. But the Sage thing, I felt really calm after. In fact, I was almost sleepy.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful to have learned that. I just wanted to ask, on your 7-week course, do you have a lot of tips like this? Or
It's over delivered, and you keep the course for a whole year. So you can transform your entire life by doing this course as a foundation to get all these programs out of the way. And then you've got a clean, beautiful foundation where you can build anything from. So yeah, it's many, many, many tips.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
For me, Miranda, I am taking away all the skills that you have introduced. But for me personally, I know I'm on the right track, and thank you. I salute you for it.
Lovely. Thank you, Diane. Lovely to meet you.
And you too.
Kyle. Oh, just the judge for me. Beware the judge.
Beware the judge. Beware the judge. Yes, absolutely. And I think my nugget has been sharing with you guys today and listening to what you shared. And I would like to have heard more. So sorry that I talked a lot, but thank you for what you shared. And I really look forward to doing this again. And on that note, it's 22 past. Sorry. I'm going to see you later. Take care, everyone. And
Yeah.
Lovely to meet you, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Have a lovely
Take care.
day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.